Welcome back. This is episode number 346 of the Healthy Diabetic Podcast. I'm Coach Ken, and I'm joined today by my incredible diabetes partner in crime, Graham Hubbard. If you don't know much about our story, we are two type 1s that almost have 50 years of diabetes lived experience. We talk about anything and everything diabetes on this show and hopefully inspire you to think differently about how you are managing your diabetes. Before we get started, please remember that nothing that you hear on this podcast can consider medical advice or otherwise. Please always consult your medical team before making any changes to your diabetes management. Okay. We got a good show for you. I'm excited to talk to Graham. It's been since last Tuesday, I believe, that me and Graham have spoke. Poor Graham was sick over the weekend. He's feeling better. But we're going to try a new format today, too. Hopefully you guys like it. Graham and I are going to probably shoot the shit for a couple minutes like we always do here in a second. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some things that are constantly on my mind, because for me, when I was first diagnosed, it was a really big thing that was in the back of my mind. And I'm going to ask Graham a couple questions about it. And then we're going to go into some exercise specific topics. I got a little fun, maybe exercise at the end that Graham and I are going to talk about with in regards to exercise. And as you are listening, whether you're on the live or whether you're listening on the recording, I challenge you to think of as many factors as well. And I'm just giving that out. We'll talk about it in a second. But Graham, how are you, man? What's going on? How's everything going?
Good.
You were sick last week.
Dude, no. You said sick over the weekend. You know what happened? Pollen, man. Pollen.
Oh, the pollen.
I've never...
You are like big time, right? You are like, you get like...
No.
Sick from pollen?
No, opposite, man. Never had an issue with it. Last Monday, my daughter woke up to a symptom that a lot of people are having around here, just like a really scratchy throat.
Yeah.
You know that almost swollen back of the tongue feeling where you're just trying to scratch it. And then ever since then, yeah, dude, I got hit by it. I take that 24-hour allergy medicine that says it's non-drowsy, but I think the biggest symptom has just been, I just want to sleep. I just want to sleep all the time. Get just all the sinus in my nose, and we're having a really crazy spring here in Florida. We lost a ton of vegetation during like the frost.
Yeah.
So everybody's out cutting things back, and I was talking about that, like spring cleaning, but oh my gosh, dude. Are you familiar with allergies and things like that?
Oh yeah, I had a client at 9:30 this morning that was just like dead to the world because his head is so stuffed up with like all the pollen and stuff.
Yeah.
He gets like that allergies symptoms when the seasons change and everything shifts over. It's finally like warmer consistently now. But it's still like, I think last week it was like 74 or something like that. And then the next day it was like 45 and
Yeah,
rainy.
you guys have crazy weather. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that, because when I was talking, I was like, oh, this isn't a Florida problem. It's now, I mean, it's the middle of April. That must be the case for everybody. But yeah, long story short, I've never had an allergy. I sympathize with everybody, but man, this is such a funny thought. But dude, I've been double blanketing at night, where I just put on, like I stack, and I like to sleep cold, but I put multiple blankets on top of the comforter, and then I just get under there like a bug in a rug. I just like that, like nestled up feeling. That is not me. Like, people that could cuddle up by a fire, Netflix and chill. Oh, man, that was me. I think I texted you. I don't even know what time it was on Friday. There was a couple days I went to bed at 3 o'clock. Woke up and had dinner and checked the blood sugar, and yeah. Which got me thinking. I was thinking about you. Have you ever been so sick that you're kind of just waking up to eat? And are you kind of like getting up and eating to survive? Are you thinking about your diabetes in those moments? Like when you're really, really feeling awful,
Yeah.
blood sugar is pretty good. Are you just like, are those throwaway days? Are those cheat days? Are you not? I mean, I'm not going out for a greasy meal or anything like that, but what's your focus? I know we've talked about this. When you're like really down and out, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing I'm always trying to be cautious of is blood sugars, right? So regardless if blood sugars are going well or blood sugars are going not great because I'm sick, whatever it might be, like I'm always trying to make a conscious decision. But I would be lying if I said that I always make a blood sugar decision. I always like eat something or check my blood sugar, take dose for the food I'm going to consume right away. Like, I'd be lying to say I always do that. But again, going back to the 80 or 80-20, 90-10 rule that we always talk about, like 80% of the time, I guarantee like I'm always on it.
Yeah.
Like I just went to today. This is a prime example for this conversation. It's like, when do you make decisions based off of the food that you're consuming? Good quality, bad quality, whole food versus the ultra processed food of that continuum we always talk about. My blood sugars have been really well. And I'll tell another story later, but regarding doing finger pricks and CGM, because I don't have a Dexcom right now. So the last almost week, I've only been doing just predominantly finger sticks. But my blood sugars have still been pretty good. And today I went to like a lunch and learn and with a bunch of other business professionals to network and stuff like that. And they had Dewey's Pizza was the catered food, right? Dewey's Pizza, cool, whatever. And then they had salad there with some dressing.
Is that thick? Is it thick pizza?
It's super thick.
Okay.
Dewey's Pizza is super, super
I know
thick.
I've heard of it, but okay.
Right. Yeah. So even for one piece, I probably would have had to taken like 50 grams, maybe 40 grams. So I made an executive decision. Like I wasn't super hungry and I just ate salad. Like I literally just ate salad. I had a Lara bar with me. I ate a Lara bar. Right. So I didn't even dose for it. And I finished my part of the presentation and talked to everybody and mingled and got in the car and tested my blood sugar again. And like, I'm not even over 130. So it's like, when are the times that you make those decisions? And I think that the interesting piece to that has to be is like, how do you feel about making this decision, right? There's going to be some times where I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, I want a piece of pizza. And my blood sugar has been amazing, but I don't care. My blood sugar has been crappy, but I don't care. Like, I want to have this. And there's no reason you can't do that. Just, you got to be cautious and make sure that you're doing your dosing strategy the right way. But then there's going to be other times you're just like, oh my God, here's a slice of pizza. Everyone knows on this show, if you've been listening for a long time, I love pizza. I could have easily had a couple pepperoni slices, but I didn't. I chose not to. I feel great about that choice. I don't feel bad about that choice or anything.
You know what has proved incredibly successful for me, and I'm happy we're talking, is splitting the Tresiba too.
Oh yeah.
So and I am right back to where I was. So I tried to bump it up a little bit. So I was taking 12 units a day, and I tried like splitting it by doing 8 twice. That was way too high. 7 twice was still a little bit too high. So I'm back to the dead split. So I was taking 12. So now I'm taking 6 and 6. But it sounds like a funny thing to say. I loved it while I was sick because I feel like I'm taking double care of the diabetes. So at least twice a day, I felt like I was coming up to the surface. I'm going to check my blood sugar because I'm probably going to take a correction, which I was because I was a little high. So definitely twice a day, I'm going to take a little bit of a correction with the Humalog, and then I'm going to take my Tresiba, right? Like my 12 out, thinking it in the 12-hour sense. But
yeah,
that's really, really, really brought down the spike. There is no more spiking in my blood sugar. I've noticed that with the double Tresiba.
Yeah.
Should have done this. Should have done it a long time ago. What?
Well, but I think that the interesting piece to that is like, when we think about MDI, taking injections and not being on a pump, not having a system that kind of automates things for you, and having to understand, okay, well, this is how much every single day I'm supposed to take, because you get that ratio from your doctor, right? So you're supposed to take 12 units, 16 units. I'm taking 24 units a day. And for me, there's 2 things of why I like the splitting it up. The first is because when you're introducing that much insulin, right? For me, it's 24 units. 24 units of insulin that would go into one specific site at one time if I took it all at once. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's funny.
There's so many things that could happen, right? That's just a lot of insulin going into one site at a time, which is also why now thinking about that as I've been on MDI now for almost a year, I think that pumping sometimes creates a problem, especially if you're not rotating your sites, because you're getting 3 days of all of the insulin that you're taking for both your basal and your bolus into that one site. And it can create a lot of problems. And And it can also take even longer to heal because you've got so much in that one site. So I think for me, that's the one thing I do appreciate or like about splitting it up. And I think that is one thing that I really enjoy or found myself that works really, really well.
What is across all pumps? What is the absolute longest you're going to have a site in for a pump? Like on the market now.
I think most
3
of
days,
them,
5 days, 7 days.
I think most of them are 5 days or 3 days. Most of them are 3 days.
And is
like the Omnipod, the Tandem, T-Slim? I don't know what the Mobi was.
So is it the
most
same?
Most of them are 3 days.
But is it the same argument of what you just said, that you want site change to not overwhelm?
Well, I mean,
to not overwhelm.
Yeah, I think that's the argument for me, but also I think that also goes to the argument of trying to take as least amount of insulin as possible, right? Even if you're on an insulin pump, right? So not saying like, oh, I'm going to go eat all this pizza. I'm going to go eat coffee every day. I'm going to go eat all this fast food. I'm going to go eat all this ultra processed food that's going to require to take so much insulin, right? The people, and I'm not trying to say if you're listening to this and you take this much insulin, we're not trying to say that is wrong. Right. So I'm thinking about the person that takes like 150 units, a day or every 3 days, or that's a lot of insulin that you're putting in that one space. Yeah. Right. So I think for me, that's the big thing. And that's why I've always advocated let's try to lower the amount of insulin that you're taking every single day in terms of your fast acting insulin. Let's try to lower that number so you're not putting yourself in such a position where there's so much insulin going in and you have to let that spot heal for even longer, right? So for me, that's always been the advocacy piece of trying to educate someone, not just how to bolus and what decisions to make and looking at all the factors and all the things that we always talk about that you're supposed to do or you should be doing when managing your diabetes, but it also doing those things will also allow you to not have to need so much insulin, right? And I think that for me, that's the big piece behind this.
So do you think your sensitivity to insulin is the final argument of how healthy you are?
No, not to how healthy you are. Well, maybe it has a factor in it, but it's not the final. I don't think it's the final argument to how healthy you are, because you could have great sensitivity, but your organs or your hormones could be out of whack like crazy.
Well, what about the opposite? Could you require a lot? Like, you require twice the amount of insulin than I do, and I probably consider your body twice the amount of muscle as mine.
Yeah, I mean, muscle mass is going to make a difference.
You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, I do, but
if someone's bulking right now to be enormous,
they're going to need more insulin because they're hypothetically going to be eating more carbs.
That's what I'm saying. But they're still exercising like crazy, and say they're clean. They're not using they're not using the insulin to supplement. Because here's the other funny thing: we never talk about this. Insulin is highly, highly abused in the
bodybuilding world.
World.
Yes,
because because what they're putting into their body requires
so much insulin production and consumption.
It requires supplemented insulin because it's so. Okay, so explain that to me. Explain that to me.
So this is the most craziest thing.
This is funny.
When I first learned this, when I first learned this, I was like, "This is not a thing. This is not a thing."
I got goosebumps because
I swear to God, when I heard about this a couple years ago, I was like, "This is not a thing. How are these guys and gals taking all this insulin, synthetic insulin, Humalog,
and getting it, access to it is crazy to it.
You can get Humalog. I've
heard.
Okay, whatever. I don't want to talk about that because I'm not an expert.
It's called the black market. It's called the black market.
Okay, cool. Yes, we know that these people are not getting insulin like we are. Okay. So anyways, what is happening is on their days, their phases of their training cycles where they eat, where they're trying to bulk up, they're eating so many carbohydrates that just allowing your body's ability to break down those carbohydrates is taxing the beta cells, right? So what they're doing is, instead of taxing the beta cells, their own personal beta cells, they're taking Humalog to help offset some of that insulin production or that
and
insulin consumption, right? That blood sugar spike, right? So that's what they're doing. So not only are they taking synthetic insulin, but also their body is secreting insulin as needed as well. When I swear to God, when I heard about this, it's like, how are they not plummeting and going low all the time?
Yeah.
Well, it's because their body has an intuitive process that allows them to, release glycogen from the liver, from the muscles into the cell, into the blood. So it raised blood sugar, just like it would in like everyone else that doesn't have type 1 diabetes. So I think I completely understand the rationale behind it. My question is, coming from the coach's perspective, coming from the holistic health perspective, and I don't know the answer to this, is that person, because they're taking so much synthetic and not allowing their actual body's natural way of being take care of that insulin spike, are they training their bodies that they don't need as much to produce as much insulin, right? I don't know the answer to that. Maybe that is a complete bullcrap thing. I have no idea, but it's just something that I always think about. And I talked to someone very close to me, will not say his name, but someone very close to me about it because he's doing it. Yeah. So it's a very interesting thing, this world of bodybuilding, of these bodybuilders taking, I would consider ridiculous amounts of insulin for these large carbohydrate meals.
A couple funny comments that I'll make, and obviously I can be corrected by this, but a common misunderstanding with bodybuilders that are taking anabolic steroids and HGH and all these things is their heart, right? Your heart explodes because that's what synthetic insulin would do to somebody who doesn't require insulin, right? So do you, have you seen the movie? Hold on.
I'm listening.
I will never forget this, and it just came out pretty recently. There's a movie called The Good Nurse. Have you heard of this movie, The Good Nurse?
No.
It's with Eddie Redmayne. Eddie Redmayne, who won, I think he won an Academy Award at some point. I'm almost positive he did. But it's a true story of a nurse who was going around killing patients, and he was doing it by injecting little pinpricks of insulin into their IV bag. And that insulin caused them to go into cardiac arrest.
Cardiac arrest or hypoglycemia?
No. Your heart. We could look this up. I will look it up while you take over. But if you watch that movie, it's a true story. It's about a guy, it's a nurse, and he did that. He killed a bunch of people and they never figured it out. I actually even think the hospitals covered a lot of it up, but that's how he would do it. Many pinpricks of insulin that to somebody that doesn't require it, synthetic insulin will stop your heart. I swear that sounds odd.
But I think it has to be, but hold on. I'm just trying to think of this logistically of what we know about insulin and synthetic insulin, right? So again, this is a movie, right?
No, this is a true story, but it's a true story.
Okay, cool. So I'm just trying to think of this logistically, because I know bodybuilders that are doing this, and I don't know what's happening to their overall health on a longevity piece. It can't be awesome, but
oh God, no, it's abuse.
If
you have a friend, I will say this. I shouldn't say things like this, but sometimes in life, I do love meeting people like that'll just give you things that are like, why are we even talking about this? Because somebody at my gym one time told me you wouldn't test clean because you take synthetic insulin. And I had never heard this too, right?
Test clean for what?
I'm at whatever for.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't be able to enter a bot. We were talking about these dudes that are hyper clean, and he's like, you take synthetic insulin, so you wouldn't. And whatever, we laughed about it, but I was at a family cookout a year after, and I was talking to a buddy, same thing as you. He's like, he didn't give a shit. I was like, tell me your regimen. And it was just it's abuse. It's abuse on the body to achieve. I can show you some pictures. He's been in some.
Yeah, well, but that's their sport,
what they call it,
their sport. That's their sport. That's the way they want that. They want that frame, which, we can't, I can't sit here and argue with that. If you want to do that to your body, okay. Just like any other professional athlete that does growth hormone to try to, get a leg up on the competition, or anybody that does something to try to get a leg up on the competition, whether it's legal or illegal, right? So growth hormone in bodybuilding is not illegal. There's no restriction on taking growth hormone or taking insulin. There's no restrictions. They don't test for any of that stuff in professional bodybuilding. So it's an interesting thing because from us thinking about it from the diabetic's perspective of if I took that much freaking insulin, I feel like I would plummet and die. Where they don't really have to worry about hypoglycemia like we do. They just don't have to.
This is pretty cool. Strict medical supervision. Insulin is sometimes used for specialized treatments in non-diabetics, wound healing, critical care, and to help improve heart function and organ preservation. But
well, yeah, because it's a hormone. It's an actual hormone.
This has given me the nice answer without being like, oh, I mean, you're asking about what they really do. Whatever. Yeah. We can pin it. It'll actually be a good conversation for another time. But watch that movie. It's called The Good Nurse with Eddie Redmayne. And you know who else is in it? Jessica Chastain. You know Jessica Chastain, the redhead. Oh my God, she's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
I'll tell Emery you said that.
Okay, that's fine. You have some things. By the way, I'm laughing. You do comment on my skin color different. Like look at our faces next to each other.
I know, right? It's like, well, you're in Florida. Shut up.
Two completely different humans. But when I laugh and get like emotional, I think I get extra red and stuff.
You do get extra red. You got extra red.
All right. Okay. That was a total.
Yeah. That's okay. That was good. Let's move to this main topic that I want to talk to you about. I talk about mental health so much because I think it is that important. If you've been following this show for 5 years, or if you're brand new to the show, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it at some point. Okay. I want to talk about anxiety right now, and then I'm going to ask Graham a specific question on what his thoughts are. I think anxiety is a really interesting thing because people talk about anxiety. They talk about, confusion, overwhelm. They talk about diabetes, burnout. We all talk about these specific things that are just really emotionally challenged to navigate when we are dealing with these types of emotions, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is the concept of confusion and overwhelm. Graham, do you think, this is an interesting question for you, do you think that confusion and overwhelm, like the word confusion, being confused about something and being overwhelmed about something, is the same? It's a hard one, man. I literally thought about this. I'm like, ooh.
It is a good question because it's not maybe the first word I would use, but when you are very overwhelmed, there is a hard to, I don't know. Oh, man.
It's hard, man.
Overwhelming to me is when I have so many things thrown at me that I just can't pick one. I don't know that I feel confused though. I want to hear why you're asking. Like, I want to hear why you're like.
I was just thinking about it. I mean,
okay.
I don't really have a reason why I'm asking. I was just very curious about it because I constantly talk about all three of those words simultaneously, but in different thought processes, I guess. Anxiety, confusion, and overwhelm, right? So to me, confusion, and we talk about taking this back to diabetes, confusion is I'm just not sure what to do. I'm not sure how to make a decision. I got something in front of me, a dosage that I have to do for a meal, and I'm so confused. I'm confused because there's 42 factors that affect diabetes, and I don't know how to deal with all of them. But that also could be overwhelmed. That could also make someone feel very overwhelmed, right? So I feel like a lot of things, at least in our space, in the diabetes space, can feel very confusing and overwhelming at the same time. So the question becomes, are they the same or are they completely different things?
So I want to ask you a question. Have you ever been I'm going to put it bluntly. Have you ever been so overwhelmed that you stopped and thought, like, is there something wrong with me? Like, I mean,
heck yeah.
Okay. Like I'm pushing it. I'm pushing this to the point where.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Like okay. And what's your escape from that? Like, is it like, do you know how, like, I don't know, like, how do you escape? Like, what is it for you? What is it, like, talking to yourself? Is it?
Well, I think it's
overwhelmed. Hold on. And I'm only talking about being overwhelmed because this is such I almost feel like it's like a trigger word for people, overwhelmed, because I want to get to the bottom of that. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think it really, I think it matters on where you are in that moment, right? How overwhelmed you feel. Because for me, there's a couple different ways that I try to overcome these feelings of feeling overwhelmed. First, I'm going to stop and, like you said, take a breath and talk to myself or ask myself that one specific question. Why is this coming up? Why do you feel so overwhelmed right now? Is it a you thing, or is there just so many things that are going on right now that you just are having a hard time navigating how to deal with it? Whether that's an emotional thing or so many tasks on your list that you have to get done, like, you've got a deadline and you feel really overwhelmed with all the things that have to be done, and you are having trouble prioritizing one thing over another, right? So for me, that's the first thing that I try to at least ask myself a question about. And asking myself that question most of the time helps me realign, like, okay, yeah, it's X, Y, and Z. This is why I feel so overwhelmed right now. Do I need to go for a walk? Do I just need to walk away from this situation? Do I need to have a conversation with this person because I'm so overwhelmed with what this person is saying to me? Do I feel overwhelmed like at the doctor's office because I'm not so confused about what's going on at the doctor's office? So I feel overwhelmed. Like, it matters about the situation, and then it matters what your solution is to that situation. And I think the first thing is like asking yourself that why question. Why do I feel this emotion right now? What's bringing this up? What could be the reason or reasons why I'm feeling so overwhelmed in this current moment?
So I guess in the context of diabetes, is the overwhelming thought the fear of someone judging how you're taking care? Like, what's then,
That
like,
could
and
be
that's what,
it.
okay. And in the context, okay, but hold on. In the context of diabetes, is it that you're gonna have to like lay it all out one day and you're gonna have to explain, hey, November 13th, you were horrible. Like, is that your thought? Like,
No,
what is,
not me
or that you're gonna
personally.
die? Is it it's gonna kill you? That you're not
Not
gonna
me
be
personally.
like, what
Yeah.
is it? Okay, then
But
you
yeah,
personally.
so I want to just go back to what you said because I think it's really important. I'm glad you brought this up, right? Because I think there's a difference in how the things that are coming up based off of where you are on your diabetes journey. What I mean by that is if you are someone that is super confused about stuff or feel overwhelmed about all of the 42 factors, you probably are someone that hasn't got to a position where you know what works in different situations. You know how to dose for this food. You know that you need to exercise every day. You know how to navigate exercise. You don't go low, you don't spike. Like you have all that stuff figured out. That's going to bring up a different situation than what you're talking about, Graham. Or that's going to bring up the situation of what you're talking about. Where if you are on the other side and you have figured everything out, you're going to the overwhelm in those conversations are going to be totally different, right? So you're asking in the context of, I feel that I'm going to be judged by other people, or that I'm gonna have to explain myself either to the doctor or someone else or my wife when she sees the Share app. Like, why is your blood sugar so high? Like, do I feel judged by those parameters? Absolutely not, because I feel confident in what I'm doing. I feel confident in how I'm managing things, even if how I'm managing a situation doesn't turn out the way I want it to. I still feel confident about that decision. I might say to myself, well, yep, I made the wrong decision here. I should have done X, Y, and Z instead. But that process isn't creating tons of anxiety. That process isn't causing all of this fear and that you're talking about, right? So I think that is the two sides of the coin of the person and what type of things are coming up for feeling overwhelmed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'd say for me, confusion sounds almost like confusion sounds, I'll put it this way. If I'm confused as to why my blood sugars aren't going well, I mean, I'm 40 years old. I've had diabetes for 32
Yeah.
years. Like, I know now.
Why it
If
is,
I'm
yeah.
confused, I should be like, what's wrong with you, Graham? Because, like, I just had this talk with myself, and this doesn't work for everybody, but I'm like, you're a piece of shit, pull it together. Like, there's no like, that was overwhelming. Like, I'm not confused why I'm slacking. I was slacking because I don't know what it is. I'm not confused about that. Does that make sense? I think maybe
Yeah.
confusion comes with maturity.
Well, I think that's the other way. I think confusion.
No, you get rid of confusion with maturity is what I'm saying.
Correct. Yes.
That's what I mean.
I got you. Okay.
You get rid of it with maturity in the sense that, like, even if I didn't know by now, I better I better at least pretend like I know, because I should know, like shame on me for not knowing. But I get, hold on.
Yeah.
I do get where people could be really thrown off when it just happened to me. I sat with my endo. I just thought about this exiting the shower. And I was like, oh shit, don't forget, she recommended pumps to you, don't forget
that conversation.
Don't forget, like, she pumps. And I was like, man, like, that would be confusing to open up that book for me. So I get, there's a part of ignorance, and like confusion is almost like it's like a challenging term, it's like an intellectual term. In a way, I don't know how to describe it. It's a really deep thought, what you're saying to me, if that makes sense. I would like to be confused about diabetes right now, but I'm not going to step up to that plate. Like, it works for me,
I don't want to be confused, but that's
yeah,
what
but
I'm saying.
You get what I'm saying. There are avenues that we could take that would blow our socks off if we committed to it, I think.
Like what?
Like if I really, I don't know, diet, for instance. Like if I really, really, really wanted to be a completely different person, diet, like.
Well, here's the other aspect.
The way I exercise, like we all get comfortable. I like my.
Yeah. Okay,
like my cable row. I love my cable rows, and I love my, my dumbbells and shit. Whatever. Go ahead.
But so I want to go back, because you said something that was very interesting. When you think about like confusion, right? When you're talking about confusion, I think you're talking about it in a completely different manner, right? And you said, oh, I'd love to be confused right now about my diabetes. I'm like, what? Why? When you're confused, you can't act. When you're confused, you don't know what to do. To me, that's what confusion is. Like, I'm confused. I don't know what to do. I'm now throwing mud on the wall, throwing stuff on the wall and hoping it sticks, instead of having the lived life experiences of having this for 30 plus years like you have, and understanding the situations that are in front of you. Maybe you feel more overwhelmed than confused. You don't really feel confused anymore because you've figured out most things. Where we would flip the script on you is if you went from MDI to pumping. Now you'd probably be super confused because you're trying to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You're learning technology, of course.
You're learning something completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. How you're going to manage your diabetes is completely different when you're on MDI compared to using technology, using a pump. It just is. Right? The principle is the same 100%, but how you do it it's just different. Yeah. Right? And not that either one is right or wrong or better or worse. Like, this confusion versus overwhelming thought process is really interesting to me, because so many people like, oh, I'm confused about this, or I feel overwhelmed about this, or I have lots of anxiety about this. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of stuff that you're carrying right there. Let's focus on one thing. And I would think out of the three things, anxiety, confusion, and overwhelm, the most important thing first to get in alignment is your confusion. What are you confused about? Because your confusion is probably going to decrease the anxiety that you have and decrease you feeling so overwhelmed about everything. Maybe not so much about living with diabetes, because we all feel very overwhelmed about living with the condition. Like, this is just so much. There's just so much to think about all the time, right? I can see how that consistently can stay with somebody. But I think that if there's any solution to this theory or this thought process, it's let's figure out why you're so confused first, and then all of the other pieces can almost have like a domino effect.
Yeah. Again, I'll say it again. When I hear the word confusion, I picture myself walking in the house and cracking a book and intellectualizing what's happening. When I hear overwhelmed, I don't know if you have this experience, but now it's just, I think of, dude, your brain is playing tricks on yourself. This is one of those things, easier said than done, but just tell yourself today sucks. Today, write the day off, man. Like, I don't know,
Man.
I don't know.
I just think about it differently, brother.
And I want to hear this from you. Because I feel like I just experienced it, where it's just, I do not like being overwhelmed. And I think that is.
So you'd rather be confused than overwhelmed?
100%. And I think that has been my reaction to everything. Anything you can diagnose about me, at the end of the day, I am overwhelmed by worry. That's it. And that's the essence of diabetes. That's the essence of being a patient. I will say, unfortunately, I have been sick, but I've had a bunch of visitors in town, and one of my best friends is here, and he's an anesthesiologist. So not only one of my best friends, but talk about a funny dynamic. He has doctor, I have patient, and this dude is like hyper competitive. He's just like me. Like his way is the right way. And imagine us like, splitting our time together. But I always say the patient experience versus the doctor's experience. He's the one looking at the person, feeling all those feelings of I just can't. I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't put diabetes overwhelmingness over anything.
Overwhelmingness.
It is, dude, because you don't. It's not. Yeah. I want to say this, and everybody's thought of it. And this just sounds like, it's so much a low thought. You just never have a break. Never having a break must break so many people.
Mm-hmm. It does break.
And I'm sorry to say, and again, I'm sorry to be making a deep comment, but I think about that, and I just want to say that out loud. Like, never having a break must break people on a.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I'm so quick to always turn. There is so much beauty in like the body's ability to come back and give you another chance. Like your body, will
super resilient.
Your body, correct, is so resilient, man. I always think like 5K to happiness, and that's like a brain thing, right? I always say, find 5K, find exactly a 5K, whether you walk it, whether you run it, whether you bike it, whether just always have a 5K loop that you can do, because to me, that'll set you free. And it's what people always say, right? Go for a walk. You should walk more. You should blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't have a final answer for you.
I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect.
Go ahead, because you were saying. Go ahead.
No, what were you saying?
You had made a comment. You had made a comment while I was talking about how I say write it off. How I say write it off.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. No, I was saying that we think differently about it, right?
Dude, I mean, if you've spent the entire day worrying, what are you really gonna do at the end of the day that's gonna make it any better? Like, you just got give yourself peace. Like, give yourself peace and say, dude, like, I wired differently. I'm not perfect. I'm not a coward. I'm not a bad person because of this, but I care so much to the point of something that my brain overtook the entire it encapsulated my entire day.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
100%.
Go ahead.
I love that, because it really is, for me, it really is that thought process of all of these things, all these dominoes happen throughout your day with diabetes, and it just makes you so overwhelmed. It gives you lots of anxiety. Like you just start distrusting yourself. Like all these cascading things can happen, and just even in one day, let alone day after day or month after month or year after year. I think Graham is 100% correct. 50% correct. You got to be able to try to let it go, right? Just write it off 100%. Where I think that Graham and I think differently in this is when he talks about the thought process of overwhelm, and overwhelm is more powerful for him than confusion because he's figured out so much stuff. For me, I don't think it's like about the necessary overwhelm or confusion. I think it's more based off of where you are in your diabetes journey and what do you trust and what you don't trust. Because you simply just trusting yourself is going to get rid of the confusion and a lot of the anxiety. There's still going to be some overwhelm. I feel overwhelmed almost every single day, not from diabetes, not per se, sometimes from diabetes, but not necessarily from diabetes, because there's so many things so many hats that I'm wearing right now, so many things I'm trying to accomplish in my life, professionally, personally, family-wise, so many things I have on the horizon that I'm trying to accomplish. And all of that feels so daunting. All of it feels so like out in the future. I don't know how the heck I'm going to do it. But I still put every single day, I still put one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. Try to prioritize these tasks that I need to do every day to make me successful, to help me build the things I want to build in my business, in the podcast, and everything I'm doing, right? So for me, it all comes down to the question that I'm asking myself in the moment. That's either going to be the answer that helps me move forward, or the question or the answer that's going to make me feel I'm stuck. 2 weeks ago, or I would say last month, I literally had a 2-week period. Nothing crazy happened. I literally had a 2-week period where I felt so freaking depressed. It was insane. Like, never felt that I can't remember the last time I felt that. Depressed about where I was in life, depressed about where my business is, depressed about where the podcast is, depressed about the gym, depressed about my relationship with my wife, depressed about not being available and around all the time for my kids, depressed about I want to do all these things to my house. Like so many things just like popped up. And at the end of the day, I said to myself multiple times, you're 43 years old. What the hell do you have to show for it? That's literally the story that I was telling myself. And that can happen so much just in life, but also in diabetes. We can say, well, I've had this for 20 years, but I still feel confused. I still feel overwhelmed. I still have all this anxiety. I still feel stressed out. I still don't know how to dose for this food. Like we can feel that so much. If you don't understand the questions to give yourself and you don't understand or don't know how to give yourself grace and give yourself that space to be able to feel that, but also to walk away from it and not allow it to just overpower you so much, right? If you don't have that, then where are you getting that support from? That's my biggest thing, is because for so long in my life, I was depressed, overwhelmed, all the stuff. And I had to pull myself out of it. And that's why it took me almost 3.5 years to do it. I hate that people go through that for a long, long time. I just hate it. And for me, I think that is the biggest thing that really pushes me every single day, and not just pushes me to show up every day for all the diabetes people, for my fitness clients, but also for myself. Because if I'm not pushing and allowing myself to feel these things and experience these feelings and then learn how to get past these feelings, how the heck am I going to help that next person that I'm in front of to get past these feelings? How the heck am I going to be able to support that person? How the heck am I going to be able to support my wife when she's going through those times, right? So I think that for me, that's the biggest thing that we all have to understand is, it doesn't matter what's going on in life. There's always an answer. And that choice, whatever choice that you make, is okay.
How long does something go on for you where you reflect back and say, hey, this has been going on for a while, you personally?
Usually not very long, because
like a day?
I've become pretty good of like dealing with it, 24 to 48 hours typically. But a month ago when I was talking about that 2 weeks,
well, that's what I'm saying.
That was crazy.
Hold on. That's my question. Like, how many days have gone by until it takes you to say, oh, hey, I'm off a little bit, like something like.
Oh, yeah,
like, yeah. Does it need to repeat
24 to 48 hours. Yeah, 24 to 48 hours.
Like if you wake up 2 days in a row feeling, and what is it? And like, why do you use the word, like, I'm just curious, like why, like I always just say I'm like down. It was like I was just, I'm just down about, it used to be the weather, or I don't know. Like, you have a weird interaction with a friend or somebody, I don't know. Like why do you use the words that you used and the descriptions, and how long did it take you to end? And more importantly, hold on. Does that affect your blood sugar and things like that?
Yes, it does affect the blood sugar.
Okay, go ahead.
It affects my blood sugar like crazy. I think that the reason I use those strong words like depression is because for me, the emotions that I feel those words are directly proportionate to how strong the emotion is and how long it takes me to overcome the emotion. How many times I have to ask myself why. How many times I need to ask for, like, look for support. Like, I didn't even ask for support for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, I didn't ask for support from nobody. And then it was like a cascading thing that just overpowered me. And I ended up talking to a couple of my colleagues at the gym. I finally sat down and talked to Kelly. And it took almost 24 hours of having different conversations with her to bring me out of it. It was the darndest thing. I was having so much trouble bringing myself out of it. Even I knew the answer. I knew the answers to all of the emotions, but there was just something about it, something about those emotions that I couldn't pull myself out of. I needed support. I needed help to get me out of those emotions. I needed having another perspective instead of listening to the stories that are in my head. I needed someone else to tell me and affirm that the things I was telling myself of why not to be so overwhelmed and confused or whatever it is and having all this anxiety, that stuff's not based in reality. So to answer your original question, it usually takes 24 to 48 hours. 24 hours to have the awareness of something seems off. Another 24 hours to like kind of pull myself out. But in this case, a month ago, at 2 weeks, that was freaking crazy.
And does enough time go by where then you're like, wow, maybe this is affecting my blood sugars.
Well, no, I'm watching my blood sugars the whole time and trying to navigate it.
But I mean, there all has to be like a, a one final, like one moment where it all kind of, all right.
Blood sugars for me is not even part of the equation for me. It's not even part of the equation because I'm on such autopilot with my blood sugars. If it's high, I'm taking a correction. If I'm eating, I'm trying to understand how much insulin I need to take, what my pre-bolus needs to be before I even consume food. I don't want this to spike to 200. I want it to be coming right back down to where. So that is like an intuitive, subconscious, automated thing that I'm doing constantly. So it doesn't matter if I'm sick. It doesn't matter if I'm overwhelmed. It doesn't matter if I'm depressed. It doesn't matter the emotion. I have diabetes on such autopilot that it just happens. And again, that it took me 18 years to get there.
Yeah.
Right. So
I'm having like a fun. Hold on. I'm like having like a moment of like laughter and almost like find like there's misery, like there's like we have this misery together, like I'm laughing. There's a term for it, like
misery loves company.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing like a misery loves company, but for me, this is so funny. I do the complete opposite, where I get obsessed with the thought of what the fuck is wrong with me that my blood sugars skyrocket, and it becomes the what do you call it? Like when you first wake up, like you're in. It's the release of
dawn phenomenon.
Yeah, like the dawn phenomenon is happening all day long because I cannot let it go. And then I become overwhelmed. And, for me, that's like I said, I've never been depressed. I worry to the point of getting so overwhelmed that I'm not even thinking straight. Right. So like, I could totally see. Have you ever been like, you ever like crawled into bed? Like you can't, like, to me, that's depression. Like you can't take it. So you like crawl into bed. Like you've ever been so like your brain is nothing. It's not like that for you. Like you just got to sleep. Yeah. See, I think for me, by the time the day is over, I'm just completely worn out too. I've completely worn myself out. I don't know. It's funny that you say like you have it on autopilot. That's not but I asked the questions about like, is it an eye opening or an aha moment? Because that 100% happens for me. And I'm probably the same as you. 2-3 days waking up feeling blue or down or something like that. You're like, okay, what's going on? And it's almost like you're going to look at it like a moment of illness or something like that. But
I don't know, man. Like I personally think the brain is amazing. The body's incredible. It's so resilient because it can literally take on anything and come out the other side, like even more powerful.
Well,
like when you really think about it.
Well, think about this. I truly fear what my life would look like without diabetes. Like I have no idea. Do you think I would be if you came over right now and you said, "Hey, Graham, I'm going to hang out with you for the next week." That's the bad news. The good news is you don't have to do anything diabetes, and I'm just going to videotape you. Like,
oh my God,
what would you expect to find? Like that's an actual real question. Like, what would you expect to see?
I don't know, man.
I'd probably lose my mind.
And you wouldn't have to deal with anything diabetes?
Just like...
because I'm doing everything for you?
No. Like you don't have diabetes. That's it. Like you just show up one day. Like, would that be healthy? Would that be healthy for somebody? But my point is this is on the heels of you saying the mind is an incredible thing. Like this is maybe the best way to encompass everything we've ever talked about. Is it's all in the perspective of how you look at it. Like you do have a disease, but if there's any disease you could complement, I would argue it is diabetes, because we are doing all the things that we should be doing, and somebody is watching, and I am accountable. I am always accountable for it, and it's no offense. It's the best excuse. Like if I didn't have diabetes, I wouldn't have an excuse for anything,
What do you mean? But you don't have an excuse if you have diabetes.
I have an excuse. I have a built-in excuse every day. We all know it. It's the best excuse.
Talking about? That's the problem, Graham. It's
not
the problem.
It's the beauty of it.
All right.
There's power in that. All right, you have something else?
No.
So there's something else you want to...
Yes, I do. Hold on. We'll transition to the very last thing. When you say excuse, what is the excuse for? Like, what is the excuse?
Okay, I'm actually trying to give you a real answer.
Yeah. This is interesting.
It is interesting because it's gross. It's a gross answer, I guess, in a way. Like, I always have a crutch. Like, I can always use it as a crutch because, that's kind of what society has built around me. So, might as well. It's almost like, it's almost like insurance. Like you're going to put a bunch of money into a pot. You might as well tap in and use it every once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
But you're supposed to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I feel like if I'm going to make it look this good, like I should be able to use it everyone, you know.
I
could have said to you last Friday, oh, blood sugar, blah, blah, blah. You know, I could like you and you would be like, yeah, you know, but I didn't. Yeah. But I didn't. I would look, I don't know. To me, that's also, I don't know. It's like it's like a mid-level excuse, right? Where like, I wouldn't say like, oh, I can't make it out of my house, my diabetes. Cause you're like, Jesus Christ, bro, that's like really bad. But it's like, I'm 15 minutes late because I needed 15 minutes to pull out my blood sugar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or like, hey, I forgot to study for this test. So
wow, we use that all the time.
Yeah. I remember
I will say that I am kind of upset that I got diabetes after all that process. And I didn't ever have the ability to like use diabetes as the crutch of getting out of a test.
No, this is the best thing you would have never thought of. I had early access to scheduling because I was, you know, I had a disability. Yeah. So I would schedule before the senior. So dude, I'd lay out my week where I'd have like no class, you know, if you'd been to college, you know, you come senior year, you're just like dictating your own schedule. So like all my classes were Tuesdays and Thursdays, you know, it was the best, dude. Yeah, always. And it was like that all 4 years. Like I always had a dope schedule. So
I don't know. I feel like the crutch makes me go back to, or the crutch, the excuses, having the ability to make the excuse always, for me, always goes back to what I've done my whole entire life. People making excuses of why not to go to the gym or why not to eat good, or, you know, why they don't want to stop drinking, or like whatever it is, why not they don't want to stop smoking. Yeah. Right. So it's like always an excuse. So why not to do something? And I just feel like diabetes should never be an excuse not to do something.
Okay. Well, I consider myself a pretty good person, but I will say this: in 32 years of having diabetes, of all the times I used diabetes as an excuse, percentage wise, how many times do you think I was being honest?
I have no idea.
I'd say like 5% of the time.
Jesus. That's a lot of excuses you threw out, though. You threw a lot of excuses out there.
It's even worse. Like, why would I ever use diabetes as an excuse? I just like eat something really quick and I'm fine. Like, it's like, oh, God, whatever. I'm being honest.
All right. Last thing. New segment on the show. Hopefully, we'll see how this rolls. Yeah. I'll have to come up with a cool, like, little, like, catchy jingle for it. Okay. I'm gonna give you something in diabetes. Okay. And then we're gonna together, we're going to set a timer for like, we'll just say 30, 45 seconds. We'll just start with 30 seconds. How many factors can we come up with in 30 seconds for this specific thing in diabetes?
Okay.
Right. So
I don't know that I don't get it.
Okay. Hold on. I'll tell you in a second. So I'm just going to get my handy dandy, stopwatch
out.
And
I'm writing them down or saying them?
No, we're just going to say them. We're just going to say them. Right.
Okay.
Exercise.
Brain exercise. Okay.
No. Exercise. How many factors affect your blood sugar? How many factors are involved in your blood sugar when you talk about exercise? Okay. Cool. We're gonna set a timer for 30 seconds, and I'll hold up my fingers or whatever. We'll come up with our list. Okay. Hopefully we can keep track of how many we did. All right. Ready? So we'll just call it 45 seconds. Do you think there's a lot?
I don't know. Just start.
I don't know.
We'll see.
All right. There are 45 seconds and go. Okay. There's before you exercise. There's one.
Okay. During.
Okay.
After. Okay.
What your blood sugar is.
Night of.
What your blood sugar is. Like what your blood sugar is right now. Do you need to go with insulin on board, not insulin on board, that type of stuff? Right?
Okay.
So it's 4.
Life of the insulin that you've taken.
Okay. So
do you agree with that?
When is it going to be out? Yeah. When is it going to be out? Yeah. Okay. 100%. So we got 5.
When's the next time you're eating?
6.
Do you have something to eat in that moment?
7.
Do you have something substantial to eat?
Okay. 8. Oh, there's 3 seconds.
I mean, I could just, I could keep going. Like,
yeah. We came up with 8. There's way more than that. So
like, and that's even a hard exercise in a way.
Yeah,
but like,
maybe it needs to be, the time frame needs to be longer. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I would say, what is the thing that you have to eat? Sometimes, this is a weird thing. I have fig bars. If I don't have something to drink with that fig bar, like that could really throw off. Like you can't run with a dry mouth and you're trying to suck something down.
Well, we
What
forgot about
about
all the hormones, adrenaline,
the weather?
dawn
The
phenomenon,
weather? The
weather, right? Like sickness. Like
Yeah,
I mean,
dude. Yeah,
we talk. I mean, we
correct.
miss
How much
so many
sleep did
different
you get?
things.
How much exercise did you get that night? That's to my point where I say, like, maybe the challenge of diabetes is actually also healthy because it keeps the brain, like, it keeps your brain going. It keeps you, like, people talk about the brain. We've talked a lot about the brain in this exercise. That is, to me, the root of it. Staying youthful is staying.
Yeah, it's hard, man.
Not even like I think about this all the time. The key to life is doing a little bit every day, plain and simple. Whether it's like, it just doesn't matter. A little bit each day, each day, each day. And I haven't found a single thing in life where you stay true to that where it'll lead you astray. Maybe don't, but have to cut your hair every day or something like that. But
Yeah,
I know men that go to the barber weekly. How often do you shave? My dad used to shave every single morning, dude. Like, that sounds like a weird thing, but
Yeah, that's crazy. Everybody, if you're still listening or if you're listening on the recording, so we're gonna be back on tomorrow live at 2:00 Eastern Standard, and then starting next week, that is, what's the date of that, Graham? That is the 20th.
Yeah.
So
the week of 420, man.
We will be back on. We're gonna change the schedule to Mondays and Wednesdays at 2 p.m. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a really cool exercise. There's a really cool conversation about overwhelm, anxiety, and confusion. That is a good teaser. Okay. And then I'll also talk about almost 5 days now with MDI, no CGM, which is crazy to me. So we'll talk about that as well. We got a bunch of other stuff that are going to be coming up as well. So we're excited to chat tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you guys next time.